with Anders and Coach Short. Coach, there's so much talk about this game.
Where we don't have to bring up what the media is saying, what the newspapers are saying. All the talk's been about, hey, we're young, we got a lot of non-senior starters, we got a new coaching staff, we got this and that. But hats off to our kids. They bought in hard from the summer. They've really put a lot. They're executing at a high level for the week 2.
That big return they get.
Yep.
And they punch one in. You guys give a pretty good fight there, but they had such great field position.
Yeah.
What a hard way to start the game on the road.
Yeah. Because we talked about our kickoff not finishing great last week. We had 2 good ones against Brighton to start the game. When we put emphasis on our kickoff unit, like you said, for the defense,
it's setting the tone with the running game early for you guys.
Yeah, and we talked about James. I think James puts a lot of pressure on himself. He's a heck of a player. He's one of the most gifted athletes on our team. And the way that he played week 1, I don't think was him. I thought you saw more of real James Rush week 2, where he hit the hole and he hit that thing and hit it. So he had a really, really good game. And then Nate Walker, we had a 2-headed monster at bat. And both of them ran their butts off. But you can't run without no line. Cole Cruz, there's an H-back, blocked his butt off. We had sophomore tackle Toby.
But when you got Lincoln Keys on the one side, then all of a sudden, who's this other big guy making plays? Yeah.
And he's no slouch. Cole Cruzer's 6'3", 6'4", and he's got great hands and he's physical. He's got a little mean streak to him, so he's physical and he can run and he can catch and he can block.
A couple more questions here. First of all, you score the touchdown on the kickoff. You get the ball back right away and score. You know how big? I mean, but that game, you come up the 4th down stop inside the 5.
Huge.
What does that say about your defense?
That's massive. That's massive. We have a saying where we say field goals don't get you beat. So any time that we can hold the team in the red zone, we don't want to necessarily give up drives, obviously, but as they drive down the field and we tighten up inside the red zone, if we hold them to a field goal, our defense should be coming off happy because we'll play a lot of games.
Tackles, make plays, kept that drive alive.
Yeah, there's times where we'll see on film where some of those ad-lib plays where he's making plays with his legs, keeping it alive, shouldn't have happened. I mean, there's times where I think that we can get the ball out of his hands quicker and he can get it to a receiver on time and do a great job doing that, but you can't take away a play. And we always talk about, we can talk about the process, and we're a process-driven team, but when the results happen, and it happens that way, it may not be the process that we coach in the way that we want, but I'm never going to argue with the results of a play, and he's making plays left and right, and he's doing a great job keeping his eyes up. There's times where varsity football, and he's playing like he's a 3-year starter.
When I talked to you in the preseason, you talked about the new offensive line coach, and I really didn't think much of it. You know, it's a lot of information taken at once. But people are telling me you guys got somebody who's making a difference for you guys coaching your offensive line.
So Ed Dreslinski and then Chris Jags. Jags has been here for a long time, but Ed Dreslinski was at Brighton. I remember I actually played against him when I was at Hudsonville early in my career. And then he was at Northville, and I was at DCC when we played against Northville. So I was very familiar. And I knew the attitude that he brings. And when you have an offensive line that can buy into that attitude, it's going to show, and it did show. And he is making a difference, and hats off to him as a coach and a veteran coach. And he keeps me in check as a young, emotional guy, and our whole offensive staff's extremely young. So he's like our dad on the offensive staff a little bit.
How about Sadov and the plays he's been making? He got one of the sacks last week on a big play. Nearly had a pickoff here today, where he did, but it was called back. Got involved on, I think, a sack or a big tackle. Tell me about him as a player.
He has a motor that doesn't stop. And he's going to continue to improve and improve and improve. And when you put Allen on one side and Isaiah on the other, and the way that our linebackers are playing with Coleman Ross on the inside, it's a pretty dangerous group. Then you add in Michael Reeder in the middle. But Allen, like you said, he's got a motor that doesn't stop. That kid doesn't get tired. He worked his butt off all summer. I mean, he was first in everything that we did all the time.
Isaiah Harris is no secret to anybody.
Be a saying, old saying we talk about too, is it's never as good as you think, never as bad as you think. There's going to be a lot of things on film where we left a lot out there, and we could have executed on